Hello friends, this is just going to be a short quick video. I want to talk about the rogue talents in Battle for Azeroth. If you want to actually see the talents, I go through them all for all three specs at some time that I'll magically make appear over here, so you know where to skip to if you don't want to hear me rambling. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the talents, mostly about the Assassination talents, since that is the primary spec that I play. So there's been several big changes, and of course we're losing our artifact weapons and all the traits that come with the artifact weapons, but Blizzard said that they want to know which of the things that we got from our artifact that we really liked, so they could try to maybe bake it in to either a talent or baseline or something like that if they thought it made sense. So Poison Bomb is becoming a talent now. But it's also going to be competing with Crimson Tempest, which is coming back, which I think is really cool because I did like Crimson Tempest. If you don't remember, it's sort of a AoE finishing move, so you could spam Fan of Knives to build up combo points, and then Crimson Tempest to put, I think it was a bleed on everybody, but some sort of dot on everybody. And also, one of the talents is going to mimic the legendary Cloak that has that stacking buff that stacks up to 20 that buffs your Fan of Knives. So that's another option in that tier. That's your top level 100 tier. So all of those things seem really cool, and it's nice to keep Poison Bomb. I liked Poison Bomb as a concept, and it was really good damage, but of course, as every rogue can attest, it always procs as you're running away from the ad that you had to switch to on your way back to the boss, and never on anything useful. So it is a little frustrating that the RNG of that could make a big difference on your numbers on the fight. You know, if the Poison Bombs landed in a good spot, great numbers. If they didn't, not so great. But it's good to see that come back as an option, as well as Crimson Tempest and that Fan of Knives Cloak if you happen to like that playstyle. I'm not actually going to miss Kingsbane, which is, you know, your big artifact ability. The thing I'm actually going to miss the most from my artifact weapon is the ability called Dense Concoction. It's a passive talent, and basically what it does, you hit Crimson Vial, that's your heal, and it puts a stacking buff on you for 4 seconds. I think it's like 5% damage reduction. And so it's really nice. You could pair that with Elusiveness or just regular Feint, and it would give you a fair buff to survivability. And I'm actually going to miss that a lot because I use that a fair amount in raiding. I'm sure, like most things, it's overpowered in PvP, and so we don't get nice things in PvE because it makes rogues cheaters in PvP. Okay, we're kind of cheaters in PvE also, but but I'm gonna miss that. That's gonna be the thing, I think, for my artifact weapon that I miss the most of anything. For the most part, the talent trees are not changing that much, and I'm fairly happy with everything that's in there now, but of course it's one of those things where you're really gonna have to play it to see how much you like it. And we're gonna have to have the number crunchers too. I'm not a theory crafter. I look forward to the people that are giving us the numbers on things, because it isn't fun if there's one talent that is just hands down the best all the time in all situations and you never touch it. I do like swapping the talents around for particular fights, particular situations. So it would be kind of nice if they did all end up getting balanced relatively similar, or also if you can pick based on your playstyle preferences. You know, like on alts that I don't play very much, I tend to pick the passive talents because I don't want to bring out more active abilities when I barely have a handle on the active abilities that I already have, you know, on characters that I don't play very often. So yeah, I like it when all the talents are relatively viable. Obviously, there's always going to be one that comes out slightly ahead, and there's fine if one comes out slightly ahead. I don't think it's realistic, but there's nothing wrong with having one that's the top. The problem is when it's so far in the top that the other options are not actually options, right? And it's good to have some, you know, where the harder ones to execute, you know, maybe it's an active ability and you have to use it at a certain time, you know, that one comes out way ahead. But for people who aren't as good at that, there's a passive option, and maybe that passive option ends up being as good if you're not as good at optimizing the top one. But if you are good at optimizing that top one, that's that place where the people with really high skill can push ahead and really show it. So I do like stuff like that, and I hope that we're going to have stuff like that, but of course we won't see. It's still the alpha, they're still tuning things, and you know, people aren't theory crafting yet because things are going to change a bunch. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about the talents a little bit before I actually show them, since you can go online and look on a database site. But I'll log into the Battle for Azeroth Alpha, and I'll just go through all the talents and the talent changes for all 3 specs, and you can watch that now if you're interested. So friends, I thought we would go over the talents in the Battle for Azeroth Alpha, and we're going to start with the Rogue. If there are any other classes that you would like to see, let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to go over them. So we're going to start with Assassination, and we're going to take a look at these talents. Some of these talents are the same as on live, but some of them are new. So in tier 15 we have Master Poisoner, we have Elaborate Planning, these are both existing talents, and we have Dispatch back, which is sub 30% sort of an execute for rogues. So I think that's really awesome to be getting Dispatch back. A lot of people didn't like it, but I really liked how that played. So in tier 30, which is sort of the stealth tier, we have Night Stalker, we have Subterfuge again, and we have Master Assassin, which is critical strike while stealth. So in tier 45, we have Vigor, we have Deeper Stratagem, and now we have Marked for Death, which previously has not been available in Assassination, at least not in Legion. So we get that back, and it is on a tier competing with other things that sort of go with it better, wherein if you did have it in Legion, for example, in Outlaw, it was kind of on a tier where it didn't really go with the other stuff. Tier 60 is our healing one again. We have Leeching Poison, Elusiveness, and Cheat Death. These are the same as on live. 75, we have Internal Bleeding. We have Iron Wire, which is new. Increases the duration of silence to 8 seconds. And the enemies that are affected deal less damage. We have Prey on the Weak. Tier 90, we have Venom Rush, which is the same as live. We have Toxic Blade, and we have Exsanguinate. Again, no big changes there. Tier 100 is our AoE one. We have Poison Bomb, which previously has come from our weapons in Legion. We have Hidden Blades, and this actually duplicates the legendary Assassination Cloak. If you had that, every 2 seconds you increase damage to your next span of knives, and it stacks up to 20. And Crimson Tempest is back, if you remember Crimson Tempest. So now you have these options to choose from for your AoE damage as Assassination. Let's go ahead and swap over to Outlaw. Alright, so first here we have Sword Master. We have Quick Draw. And we have Ghostly Strike. I'm going to hover over these just for a second so you can check out the tooltips. For tier 30, we have Acrobatic Strikes. We have Retractable Hook, which reduces the cooldown of Grappling Hook because Grappling Hook is now baseline. And we have Hit and Run, which is a flat move speed. In 45, we have Vigor, Deeper Stratagem, and Marked for Death. Again, same as in Assassination. All pretty good talents. So 60, which is our healing tier, we have Iron Stomach, which increases the healing of Crimson Vial, healing potions, and Hellstones. And then we have, hear those noises, they're all the monsters and whatnot in the world here. Anyway, so we have Iron Stomach, we have Elusiveness, and we have Cheat Death. This is a really cool world, by the way. I'm not too big into the Battle for Azeroth story, but this zone is really cool. So, tier 75, we have Dirty Tricks, Blinding Powder, which reduces the cooldown of Blind by 30 seconds and increases the range. And we have Prey on the Weak, which is obviously not new. Tier 90, we have Loaded Dice. This is awesome, and I really like it just because how much it relieves the frustration of playing Roll the Bones. Activating Adrenaline Rush causes your next Roll the Bones to grant at least 2 matches. Still not perfect, still maybe too random, but we do still have Slice and Dice here if you are not a Rolls the Bones fan. Oh my. I don't even see what that was. But yeah, so we have these two still, which are on live. And then in tier 100, we have Elaborate Planning. We have Cannonball Barrage. And we have Killing Spree. And now let's take a look at Subtlety. So we have Weapon Master here. We have Find Weakness. And we have Gloomblade. Gloomblade replaces Backstab. In our Stealth tier we have Night Stalker, Subterfuge, and Shadow Focus. You should be familiar with all of those. 45 is again Vigor, Deeper Stratagem, and Marked for Death. Tier 60 we have Soothing Darkness. This is a healing tier. You heal during Stealth and Shadow Dance, and then of course Elusiveness and Cheat Death. 75 is Shot in the Dark. Free cheap shot while Stealth and Shadow Dance. Strike from the Shadows. And then Prey on the Weak. Tier 90 we have Dark Shadow, which increases your damage during Shadow Dance. And then we have these, which are not new. Actually, Enveloping Shadows might be new. I don't actually remember. I don't play Subtlety much on live. And then at tier 100 we have Master of Shadows. We have Death from Above. And then we have one coming soon talent that they haven't put in the game yet. And we'll anxiously await what that is. Thank you for watching, guys. Aren't my new glasses fun?